What is up with it? Today we are finally back. As some of you have noticed, as some of you have reached out, I haven't really been uploading for the last little while. Just, life getting in the way. Also, OP11 not that interesting to me personally, and I think to a lot of other people. So I've shared before to, a lot of people who have come up and talked to me before about like, hey man, why do you do what you do? And the truth is, like, I don't make any money from this. Like, I've made maybe $500 total off of the like 200 videos I've uploaded. I don't really gain anything from it. I do it personally just because I think it's something that should exist. I would prefer to not be the person who does this. Truthfully, I wish I could, get a daily upload from someone going over some gameplay, explaining it. I wish it existed and I wish it wasn't me, but I think it does exist, and I don't really see what I do being made by anyone else in the One Piece community. So I just believe it's something important, and that's why I do it. But in OP11, I honestly didn't feel that way. I didn't feel like it was important. I didn't think the format needed that person. But we're back. Bans are coming in. They're not announced yet. This is going to be some gameplay footage of me playing Bonney, assuming that Hody is banned. Also on the channel, I think we're going to be doing more of my own gameplay again, like more frequently, kind of like the classic, the old school day one OPTCG grinder videos. But yeah, so this is going to be me near the top of the ladder. Ladder is kind of annoying AF right now because when I queue up ladder, I'm pretending that Hody and Mom are banned. So if you run across me on the ladder and I'm playing UP, I'm trying to make it work without Mom. If I'm playing Bonney, I'm trying to make it work without Hody. However, I queue into other green players and they're playing Hody. I queue into UP all the time, bro. Why are you people still playing UP? All right, anyways, I'm sorry. I'm babbling 2.5 minutes. We haven't even started. So the green purple Luffy chose to go second. I kept a hand of Bonney, Cavendish, Appo, Euroge, and 10 cost Dofi. And I'm not the best Bonney pilot. I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. I've never even played Bonney in my life. But gonna go ahead and grab Bonney. I think that's probably the only reasonable search. I'm just gonna poke 5 here. They're taking either way. They're probably ecstatic that I even swung that, because sometimes Bonnies will try to starve a little bit. Which maybe I'm supposed to do in this matchup. Again, I haven't really played Bonney much, so I don't really know what is standard necessarily. But here I'm feeling pretty good about my curve. The searcher basically saves me a hit. And then I've got Cavendish on 5, and I'm going to be able to go ahead and Euroge plus Bonney on 7, which will be pretty good. My opponent's definitely hitting his curve too, though, with the 4-5-4. Finding Kid. I don't play too many kids in this list personally. Maybe should run a bit more. People didn't seem to really be running it in 12, I think, because it wasn't that good in a UP, but maybe I should be bumping up, maybe to 3 or 4, who knows. But I'm currently running a limited number. Gonna go ahead and pitch one of these 10 Dofis. I don't really think I'm gonna need multiple of them. But this 5 cost Bonney, insane. This card is like, the fact that it restands the Dawn, and it filters, and you go +1, and it's a blocker, like, oh my goodness, that card is so good. That card is so shiced. Alright, gonna go ahead and swing in the Cavendish. Gonna decide to not counter this, simply because I have the kid, and I don't want to be over countering if I have this kid. Because we could even play kid this next turn if we really want to. We're going to go ahead and block 2. We don't want to take damage too quick. Because if we're at 2 life and, they're going to have, 4 or 5 swings next turn, that could potentially be problematic. So now, thinking about if we should swing with this 5-cost Bonney. Basically, when we're swinging this 5-cost Bonney, we're just saying like, hey, I'm going to get a card out of your hand, but I'm going to have 1 less blocker, so I'm like slightly more susceptible to death. Or more susceptible to having to give more counter out of my hand. So deciding not to swing the Bonney. Maybe it was a mistake. Any Bonney experts watching this, I'd love to hear some feedback. Because again, I've literally never played Bonney. I've always been a huge Bonney hater. But I think the deck actually seems pretty decent. Some of these upgrades in OP12 are really nice. I'm going to go ahead and go 7 at 5. We're just going to let it go. Does always kind of suck when you lose the Eroge. Especially after the fact that we already lost the Cavendish. So now I don't have ways to play these 10-cost Dofis and leave a Don up. Which we're going to really want to find a way to get back to that, I think. So gonna go ahead and 2k out of this. Our opponent does still have 2 swings and we only have 2 life. So we know we want to go to 0. So that way we can just drop this kid on board. And we do find a small blocker to pair with it too, which is exactly what we want. I think it makes sense to always just start 11 to 7. And we actually get the kill, a little surprisingly. But here we can go ahead and just use kid, play out this blocker, and just leave a Don open and pass. And here, opponent's going to start with a 10. Going to go ahead and rest their thing. I think we're maybe supposed to block here. We do have 2 blockers. Blocking here is probably reasonable. Especially since this Bonney can get us back to... I don't think we're supposed to counter with this Bonney. It probably should have been the carrot instead. But carrot actually might be kind of nice this next turn. So maybe it's okay. But yeah, now we counter again. Yeah, I think that first 10 we were for sure supposed to block. Okay. Now we have the Cavendish. So we didn't block, so we don't need to establish any new blockers. There's a couple approaches we could take. We could use all of our Dawn to just swing at board. Or we could establish this Cavendish. We're going to start with an 11 at 7. And then we're going to go ahead and go 11 at 7 again. And then just one more last 11. So here, what we could have done is we could have gone like 8, 9 and played the Cavendish. 8 is kind of like a really trash number, unfortunately. But playing this Cavendish does seem pretty important because we don't really have great plays next turn, right? Like, we can't play a Shanks, we can't play these 10-cost Dofis. But we can do those things if we have this Cavendish on board. We also for sure should have blocked the previous turn, at least one of the hits, because now we're open to like more like resting shenanigans. Okay, gonna start with a 10. And they grabbed the demonic aura, so we for sure want to block this. Kind of interesting that they chose not to use it. Here we're just going to have to 1k. I think if we were going to play the Cavendish, we've kind of passed the time that we could have. They're going to go 8 again. Going to go ahead and just counter again. They're going to leader effect and probably go only 8. So leaving 3 Dawn up. Maybe a little worried about getting gamed. Probably worried about Hody is probably what they're actually worried about. They don't know that I'm playing as though the card is banned. So fair enough. And yeah, this would be the turn where if we had played the Cavendish, we would have gotten to play the Dofi here. And you know, if we just swing over these Zoros, and then which would be really easy, right? We get to go, at least one of them we get to go over really easily. Which, to be fair, if you're not able to get over both of them, it doesn't really make sense to use swings into either of them. So I think you swing it like, okay, I'm gonna pause. I think you swing it like, imagine if we had the Cavendish. I think we would swing at the Zoros once, and if they give it, you continue. And you swing at the other one. If they don't give it, then you stop. Or then you pivot to life and you say, okay, that's fine. I'll just kill you next turn. It's fine that you have 2 Zoros. I have a blocker. I have a kid, and your other 3 things are frozen. So like, how are you going to both break through the kid and kill me? Because I'm just gonna, like, you're gonna swing one of the Zoros and then I'll rest the other one. So like, really what you'll need is you'll need like a rush Luffy. But it's really hard to, like, especially with like his amount of Dawn. But just in general, it's like really hard to like break through a kid plus a blocker and push the damage. Yeah. So here, just going to go 9 at the Sanji and putting. So yeah, definitely I think some misplays on my side, not understanding some certain dynamics. And maybe needed to use 2Ks as 1Ks, maybe when countering at one point. Because I kind of threw away like all the playables, right? Like I had a few different playables. Like I had the 1-drop Bonney, which I could have potentially played. I had the Carrot, which I could have potentially played. I had the Cavendish. That's 3 playables. And we kind of got rid of all of them, saying like, hey, I'll just ride or die with the Shanks and the kid, and surely that will get me there. And I think realistically, to close out the game, we probably need 1 more bomb. So just a little something to think about. But as always, thank you all so much for watching. My goal is to be uploading, you know, near daily, like the old days. We're just going to be watching over probably my own gameplay for the most part. Get back to the bread and butter, get back to the classic OPTCG grinder. Anyone who still was like on the $10 Metafy supporter tier, even on my hiatus, you guys are actually the goats of the goats. I can't even begin to describe how thankful I am that there's people out there who, you know, even if it's something small, are down to support me. It means a lot. I appreciate you all so much for watching, and we're back, baby. Have a great rest of your day.